welcome back to the Fundamentals podcast, where we talk all things related to sports from a fan's perspective. What's happening?
What's good? What's good?
Not a lot, man. I want to, first of all, everybody listening, appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Shout out to Bros Talk Podcast. We're supposed to be on that sometime next month, so I reached out.
Bet.
So we gonna work on that. I've been on there, but we need to get both of us on there. So that's supposed to happen sometime next month. Man, I want to take back a statement from last episode. I said that I would rather see OKC versus the Lakers. I'm a Laker fan, and so like in the heat of the moment, that kind of came. I'll put it to you like this: if it ain't the Lakers, I would like it to be OKC. If it's not the Lakers, obviously I would like for my Lakers to win the championship. But if it's not, or at least be in the championship. But if it's not them, I would like it to be OKC. You good?
I just had
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't want to burp on the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I would like to say that. Also, I would like to say I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Like I feel like OKC is a great team. They're a really solid defensive team. But like looking at the Western Conference right now, I do think we have to ask ourselves, are we being a little bit unfair to the teams like the Clippers, who, with the healthy Kawhi, have been a top defensive team themselves, and we know what playoff Kawhi can do.
Do we? We ain't seen him in the playoffs in I don't know how long. I mean, so do we?
Since Toronto. Like, he played a little in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
But do we think him and James Harden and the rest of the Clippers, like, are we kind of, you know what I mean? Like, are we not giving Houston a fair shake with the likes of their defense?
I mean, I don't think that we're not giving them any fair shake. I mean, when you talk about OKC, you're just speaking on how they play. So that's not taking nothing from anybody else, or you know what I'm saying. It's just you're just highlighting what OKC does well. That's not to say that the Clippers on any given day they could beat anybody, as they have shown. They play really good defensive ball, especially with a healthy Kawhi. With a healthy Kawhi, they change the dynamics a little bit, so we know that. Yeah. And I think last episode I did mention Houston as being a pretty decent threat out there. You know what I'm saying? So we're not overlooking them. It's just when you're looking at the optics of all the teams that you're seeing OKC play kind of a different level than these other teams. Right. Now, I will say the Clippers recently have turned it on. You know what I'm saying? So they've been getting in their bag lately. So you can't necessarily write them off. You can't write off Houston because, like I said, I believe last week, they're young, talented, they're well coached. Them boys, you know what I'm saying, they get up and down the court. They're athletic enough. They could play defense just as good as anybody in the league. So they're a pretty decent, solid team and defensively. So I don't think that we're actually not giving any other team credit. I think we're looking at a team like OKC and we're saying they've been notches above the rest, at least in the regular season. Right. Playoffs is always a different story. You know what I'm saying? That's like that's a different seasonal ball game in itself. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of throw everything out of the window when it comes to the playoffs because anybody, as we've seen 8 seeds beat number 1 seeds, we done seen all kinds of wackiness happen in the playoffs when you didn't expect it. So
very true.
That's a whole nother season. So we have to see what they do in the playoffs. They looked good last year till they ran up against, Dallas. And was it Dallas that beat them? Or was it? Yeah. It was Dallas that beat them. Yeah. So when they ran up in Dallas, they got beat by Dallas. But I think with the year under their belt, they've been showing that they're still just as good as they were last year. And I believe they're going to make a whole bunch of noise in the playoffs. But like I said, the playoffs is a whole nother season. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like OKC still will, to me, they still are the best. But will I sit there and be like, well, a team like, the Clippers can't knock them off in a best of seven series? Yes, anything's possible. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Especially if they stay healthy. If they stay healthy, they have a really good chance. You know what I'm saying? They have a good chance with a healthy Kawhi. But I still think OKC is going to be, one of the top ones out of the West.
Yeah, yeah, I just thought it was a good question because I'm looking at the West and I'm looking at some of the top teams, and I'm like, realistically, but one of the things we have to remember too is it's a series, right? So when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about a series, you have to win multiple games, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we look at a game and we're like we can even take, the Lakers had beat OKC one night and then literally a night later OKC went out and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a series based thing. So those are the things, those kind of matchups matter. You know what I mean? So like
Because you're going to have a lot of adjustments during the series. It's going to be a lot of
yes.
switching. So it's really hard to dictate how it's really going to play out because sometimes you might find a coach. Sometimes we've seen they find a lineup and a matchup that they like that they can actually utilize in the 7 game series that takes
Right.
them over that edge. So,
Right.
yeah, it's a game of cat and mouse. Now, and playoffs is about who's going to outcoach the other.
Yeah, like that and that's what's so surprising to see the Nuggets just go out with 3 games left, like
Uh,
fire your head coach. Like I just
I'm
going
still
into the
scratching my head.
playoffs, I just don't get it. I like there's not a good answer for me. You could say, well, maybe there was trouble in the locker room. Maybe I look 3. You have 3 games left. You're potentially sixth, fifth, or fourth in seed,
Hmm.
and you fire your coach. Even I think they could either be third, fourth, fifth, or sixth with that
Hmm.
with that race. And you fire your head coach with 3 games left. I like. There's not a good answer for that for me.
I don't understand it. I don't care if you're on a 4 game slide at the end of the season.
Right.
I don't care if you know what I'm saying. You don't you do not fire a head coach 3 games left of the season thinking that you're gonna make a playoff run that well. Now, if you do, kudos, you lucky. But
Yeah.
you're changing a whole philosophy now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you're changing a whole. They gotta get. I mean, a lot of times they do appoint like the assistant coach, like as a intern. So you don't really lose a whole. But at the same time, but you still lose that voice that they've been used to dealing with.
Exactly.
Maybe they got tired of that, or yeah, I mean, I seen something where it said Calvin Booth and Mike Malone got into. They weren't liking him playing Russell Westbrook over Jaden. What's his name? I can't think of his
Oh
name,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I think the rookie or whatever,
Yeah, the
the
yeah.
last few games or whatever like that, and so and both of them got let go. So I don't know what was going on there. I haven't seen anything um, really that explain why, but to me it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
it's too many. It's been a lot of firing of coaches that's been winning. I don't
Right.
get that.
I don't understand
I'm
it.
not
Like
I'm not understanding that.
I mean, we've seen coaches get fired after taking their team to an Eastern Conference Finals.
Hmm.
Like, you know how
Hmm.
hard it is to get to or Western Conference final. Like to make it to the conference finals is
Yeah.
a feat in itself. And
Yes.
you fire like I just don't understand some of these firings and over the last even we saw it in Memphis and it's like
Hmm.
well they're potentially in the same position of being now since then they've dropped they're probably going to be in a play-in game, right?
Yeah, they
They're
dropped
yeah
a couple of games, but they won a couple of games recently. But
yeah
still it doesn't make sense.
yeah it doesn't add up for me and those are things that it really confuses me because it's like our owners or GMs jumping the gun. Like I've seen an influx of just terrible decisions by GMs, whether it be
Yep.
the GM and the owner. I mean, even look at the even like let's talk about even the Luka trade, right?
Right.
I don't care how nice they say. Look, regardless of he probably is a really really great GM. I mean, he has a lot of but let's call a spade a spade. That was a terrible trade.
It was.
It was a terrible trade. Like let's just call a spade a spade. Like there's no way to justify that for me. Now, and I don't care. I don't care if next year that Dallas looks really good. It's still a bad trade because you've traded a 25-year-old that is playing like arguably some of the best basketball in the NBA right now. He took you to the finals, like carried the team on his back, and you trade him because he smokes hookah and drinks beer, or he's at least that was there. It was the hookah. He drinks beer. He's overweight, right? And you know what he did? He went out and scored 45 on y'all the other night. So
He sure enough did.
hey,
Even though
you score 45 on me, you score 45 and you average almost 30 a night, which is you smoke as much hookah as you want.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Even though I will say I watched some of that game and I was just looking at how terrible some of that defense was. But
That's true.
I digress. That's another little.
That's true. That's true.
I seen him just his slow self just blow right by people like it wasn't, and then get easy buckets like nobody was even trying to play defense. But here nor there, either way it goes. Overall, when you look at it, it was a bad deal. It was a bad
Yeah.
trade. You shouldn't have
Yeah.
did that. You don't give it. I mean, you shouldn't have did it.
Right.
I mean, I know Anthony Davis is an amazing talent. I mean, he really is. If he can
Yeah.
stay healthy, he's literally one of the top players in the league. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
he's top 5, top 10 caliber player in the league. Actually, a healthy Anthony Davis is almost unstoppable
Yeah, no, a very. I mean, seriously,
if he's healthy and aggressive.
if he's healthy,
And he plays, if he plays aggressive, he is
he
unstoppable.
Is, right, he is one of the top players for sure in the league.
But
My-
but it is kind of weird trading a 30 something year old, 31, 32 year old for a 25, like trading off your 25 for a 31, 32 year old.
Yeah.
That's injury
And a-
prone. It
And a
makes no sense.
25 that just came off of carrying a team to the finals.
Yeah.
You know, I just, I think it was a bad trade. So with all,
But
that,
they got new ownership, so
yeah,
apparently the owners didn't like something about it. So there it is.
yeah, that well, yeah,
Because
it-
Mark Cuban would have never did it.
No, he and Mark Cuban has said that a number of times. Like, absolutely not. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he
And-
wouldn't have done that.
No, and he's I honestly, I know Mark Cuban how much love he had for Luca. Like I know how much love he had for Luca, and
Yeah.
the fans as well. I mean, you heard the fans at that game.
Yeah,
You-
they were
yeah.
cheering on every single time he was scoring the ball.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
booed when they got a turnover when he got a turnover or something. They booed for him.
Yeah,
That's crazy work.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy work.
with that alone, you understand that what he was to that Dallas organization. I mean, heck, he still has a house there. He had just bought that home, so he had zero intentions in ever leaving Dallas. That's where he wanted to be. And in a sense, like when I was watching the tribute that they did for him, I won't say they overdid it. I just didn't like the idea that at the end in his native language it said like we miss you or we love you or whatever, and it's like, hold on, do you? Because y'all was like kind of trashing him when y'all made the trade. So, like y'all were justifying the trade. Like He's overweight. He doesn't listen. He like you had all
Yeah,
these negative
but
things to say about him.
they got to save face. They got to.
Yeah.
They got to try something to save face. We can't put that out there because they already know how the fans feel about Luka.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. True indeed. True indeed. It's
Gotcha.
one of those things, like in my opinion, Luka is a generational kind of player because he does everything on the offensive side. He does everything really well, right? Like
Yeah.
really good. Pass, shoot, get people, throw people open, like creates lanes for people. Like he does so many things on the offensive end so well, and he's one of those players where it's not even like it's not with speed. It's not with. It's just good fundamental basketball for the most part. Like he does some wild stuff, but it's just it's good basketball IQ on the offensive end. And so, but we say those same things about Nikola Jokic, and we've had the conversation about European players and just like the fundamentals. And it leads me to ask you, if you're building a team, who do you want? Do you want Nikola Jokic or do you want Luka Doncic?
Like I said before, though, I would probably go with Jokic. But like I told you, I like to start with the big man or
We had
point guard.
we had the conversation. But
But with somebody like Jokic, I mean, both of them don't play no kind of defense. So let's just get that out the way. They're not defensive players, but offensively, I like Jokic a little bit better. He's a little more harder, in my opinion, to guard.
Gotcha.
Because having a big man that can shoot threes at a high clip, you can't stop him down low in the post. He don't have to get you. He don't have to have the ball all day long.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna lull you to sleep with no dribbling. He finds open men all the time. He's gonna give me at least 14, 15 rebounds.
Yeah.
He's gonna give me 8 to 10, 12 assists.
Right.
And he's gonna shoot 57, 58% from the field, along with 40-something% from the 3-point line, and he shoots a high clip at the free throw line.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I really can't. It's hard with his skill set. It's hard to go with anybody else. I mean, Luka is great. Don't get me wrong. He is great.
Excuse
but
me.
when you get a big that just doesn't seem to be able to miss at all.
Yeah.
But Luka has his days where he can go balls to the wall. He can go for 45, and then there's times where he might not be on. But with his type of skill set, he could do a lot with it. But Jokic is much more dominant to me, in my opinion. Offensively, he's much more of a dominant player, and he doesn't need to have the ball in his hand like that.
Yeah.
He really doesn't.
I saw something. I don't know where it was at, but I saw it on Twitter, and I don't remember who said it. I can't. You might know about it, but somebody said that Shaq would have had trouble with Victor Wembanyama. Thoughts?
Offensively, not in the post.
No, because Shaq would have beat him
People
down.
gotta understand. Yeah, he will only have trouble guarding him on a perimeter.
That's it.
That would be really it. But it ain't like Shaq was slow. Shaq was a pretty quick dude. He was athletic. He was athletic inclined. So it's not like he couldn't move his feet or anything. But you taking him out from up under the rim, you was gonna cause some problems if you're shooting. Because then Wembanyama's gonna either shoot threes, but he ain't got much of a post game yet. He ain't really passed that out. But we've seen Shaq go up against Yao Ming.
Yeah.
And Yao Ming, to be honest with you, he's a tougher guard than Wembanyama. Wembanyama, he's still frail. Yao Ming had the big body to be able to be in the post with Shaq, and then he easy turnaround fadeaway, take shots. I mean, he was hell for Shaq to guard.
Yeah.
And Yao Ming was a beast for his little short time. I wish his career was longer because Yao Ming was a beast down there. But he had the post game, he had the mid range, I mean, we don't know if he could shoot a three like that because they didn't do that at that time. But
Right.
he had midi and a post game, so he could do all kinds of things. Wembayama would have, he would be able to take Shaq on the perimeter,
But in
but that's about it.
the
He wasn't going to
post,
be able to do
forget
nothing in the
about it.
post because he doesn't have a post game yet. He
Hmm.
don't. His body's too frail, so he's not going to be. He ain't backing Shaq down nowhere. And then on the other side of the ball, Shaq is killing him.
Oh yeah.
He's killing him. He's not
Yeah.
going to be able to guard Shaq. He might block a shot or two every now and then, but by the time Shaq's just going to back him down up under the rim to where he can't jump it, and then
Yeah.
it's an easy dunk.
Yeah.
He's got to get more body to him. I love his game is great, but he needs a little more body to him. That's it. That's my only thing about Wembanyama. Get some more body so you can have a post game,
Yeah.
or at least learn how to get a post game that
Uh,
doesn't require you to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure, man. Like I'm such a fan of the era of the actual true centers. It's one of my favorite positions. And I found that to be disrespectful because we can't see that. Like we're never going to be able to see that happen. But like you said, you brought up a great example. We watched Shaq against Yao Ming. We watched Shaq against Hakeem Olajuwon. And while Hakeem Olajuwon schooled Shaq, like Shaq learned a lot from that schooling, right? Like from that experience, Shaq learned a lot. And I think that people that didn't actually see Shaq, like you can go back and look at like some highlights and some videos, but if you weren't there, you don't understand. I used to watch games, and on a rebound, Shaq would run up court on fast breaks.
Yeah.
So people just think like Shaq was this big dude and he was slow. No, like
He never
Shaq
was
will hit
slow.
you. Yeah, he never was. Shaq will hit you with a spin and dunk on you, and you gotta understand they had to change basketball goals because of Shaq. Like that's how powerful he was. Like
Yeah.
they had to change the goal. Like the
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's the size thing. They're deceptive with the size. They think he's so big he wouldn't be able to do. Shaq was actually pretty. Orlando Shaq was really nimble,
Oh man.
but
With
it
Penny?
now, yeah. But I will tell you right now, if Wembanyama, if he ever develops, he doesn't even need to have his back to the basket all day long.
No.
If he was to develop a skilled post game, he need to go see Hakeem Olajuwon. Because
Yes.
Hakeem Olajuwon was no big body person. He didn't get bigger until later on in his career. You know what I'm saying? But when he was younger, doing all that stuff, and he was killing him. He was still a frail, but he had a bigger body than Wembanyama. But
Yeah.
the footwork, it's the footwork that
It's the-
threw people off. Shaq couldn't
yep.
guard that quick boom boom boom.
Yeah.
1-2 spin in all the counters that he had for the defensive player.
Yeah.
That's a bag, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon had a bag. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like he had a counter
Yes.
for what the defense was doing.
Right.
That dream shake, it countered a lot of things. It wasn't just fade away or layup or something like that. It was like a counter, a multitude of moves he could hit you with.
Hit you-
He could hit you
right.
with that little shake. He could
Exactly.
fade. He hit you with the up and under. If you watch Hakeem and work that post, bro, or he catch it on a little baseline and he take a little 1-2 dribble and he might spin. Bro, Hakeem was a monster. Counter moves is what he had to what the defense was giving. That's why he gave people like Shaq and them so much problems.
Yeah.
Even people, so if Wembanyama was to be able to create a bag of being in the post and creating counters, height is only going to get you so far. It can
Yeah.
get you a long way if you have a skill set like he does. Like he can
Right.
shoot the ball. You don't really need him to dribble because you got a point guard to do all that. He don't need to dribble, take the big man off most big men ain't really going to come out on the perimeter anyway, but they might have to try to guard him on the perimeter, but
Right.
he's going to shoot over everybody, so it's not like I
Yeah.
want him to. I'd rather him shoot a three than go in the post and score an easy bucket. You know what I'm saying? Because Wembanyama can get an easy bucket anytime he wants to, if he was to learn how to utilize his body and learn some counters to what the defense might give him.
Mm-hmm.
Height is so difficult to guard because he doesn't even have to really jump to dunk the ball.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, type of things like that. But when you dealing with people that are that are stronger than you,
Mm-hmm.
bigger, you take away what he could do easily, which would be
Right.
easily score in the post and make him a perimeter player. If I'm
Right.
a big man, that's what I want you to do as a big man. I want you to kind of make yourself a perimeter player because guess what? When you miss that ball, I'm grabbing that rebound.
Right.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
want you to go ahead and shoot now, unless you're shooting like Steph Curry, and I can't, you know.
Yeah.
So Shaq will probably have a little bit of problem offensively to the fact that he can stretch him out, to the 3-point line. But he's
Yeah.
he's not really going to be doing a lot of blowing by Shaquille O'Neal like that.
Like
He's
you
not.
think. Yeah.
He's going to get
Yeah.
bodied up a
Or
little
like.
bit to throw
Yeah.
him off balance. So, it might get some fouls or whatever, but he's going to have to play a perimeter game against somebody like Shaq.
Yeah.
Just
And
because he doesn't have that post footwork
game
and
like
stuff
that.
yet.
Well, and that's why I try to explain. Like we so often see people say, it was a league that of like particularly back in the like 70s, they say 60s and 70s. Oh, they did this, that, but like. Like even they say, well, the talent pool is much better now, and I just think there's so many. That's why I like to do. Y'all must have forgot because it's like, you got to mention the David Robinsons.
Yeah.
You have to mention the Alonzo Mournings. You have to you have to mention the Patrick Ewings. Like these big men, like and that ain't. I just gave 3 that people just forget about. But
Yep.
that was in the same time. Elijah
Yep. As a Shaq, as your
as a
Elijah
Shaq,
was,
right?
as your Ewings, and more nimble, smaller, framed, but still big centers and power
And
forwards. Yeah.
strong
Yeah.
and strong. So like it was very different league, but I just think that the power of that era and I'm not trying to say that the players today are not great, but when you think about the game, it was more of a power game back then,
Yep.
and so people get that mixed up. They're like, y'all wanted to see people wrestling. No, that's not what I mean. It was just it was more. Yes, it was more physical, but it was physical in a sense to where you had to have because now it's so much freedom and movement. But you had to have like a certain kind of mentality. Like centers understood how to feel, right? They understood like a presence, right? So he's leaning on my left, I'm gonna spin right. He's leaning on my
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna spin left, or I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna do this turnaround with the hook because you know what I mean. I know how much pressure he has on my back,
Yeah.
right? So I know
Exactly.
if I do this, like it wasn't just you know what I mean. There was a level of mental to it, but now there everybody is face up. Everybody's face up, so you can you know what I mean. Like you didn't have back then. They had to have eyes behind their head. You
Yeah.
had to
Literally.
understand basketball. You had to understand where people were going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot more, right? And so that's where I get really peed off when people say, "Oh, they was out there wrestling." No, they was out there playing basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And that's just it, man. There's no hate against none of the players nowadays. There's players I still love watching nowadays. I like the excitement of watching like John Morant. I love getting
Oh
hyped
yeah,
when I'm seeing Steph Curry out there bomb. I like people like I like Jokic. I like Embiid. You know what I'm saying? When they
yeah,
healthy, I love
yeah,
watching them play ball. I think that they're really good and they're really talented.
yeah,
So it's like we're not bashing the new players. We're just
yeah,
saying that back in those days, because of physicality, you could say, you had to learn a different skill set, which is the truth. You had a
yeah.
different skill
That's
set
just
that
a
you had to
fact.
learn because you had to get around the physicality.
Right.
If you could not get around that physicality, you could not play. I mean,
Yeah.
it was going to be hard for you to play. And that's all we're really saying is it's like, yes, it's a more physical game back then. Even the early 2000s was a more physical game than what we're watching right now. So it's just
Yeah.
like when you talk about freedom of movement, where you've seen a lot lackluster defense because a per rules they can't really play defense like they used to.
Yeah.
So all that physicality that we got nowadays, like when you're watching playoff basketball now, when you watch it, is kind of similar to the early 2000s era. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because in the playoffs, they do allow them to do be a
A
lot more
little.
physical.
Yes.
During the regular season, you don't see that. But during the playoffs, they're a little more physical. So I could say it's a closer ranger to the 2000 era, a little early 2000s, kind of mid 2000s, where it's a little more physical basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because they allowed them to get a little more boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And so when you're taking that, it's just like you're watching that. That's more comparable to what we seen 90s era stuff. That type of basketball like I said, it forces you just to be able to create more of your moves. Like when you watch people like Kobe, and Kobe's so beloved, he created. Yeah, he watched Jordan study Jordan and a lot of studying of all of these greats, Hakeem, to learn the footwork, to learn what do I do in this situation? What do I
Yeah.
do? What do they see when they see this type of defense being played against them? This, that, and the third. Students of the game. He was a
Right.
student of the game.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that people are often forgetting. Like, you got to be a student of the game. It ain't just
Yeah.
based upon your skills. Talent's going to take you far, but it only going to get you so much.
Right.
Once you start changing how you view the game, how you watching, how you play. That's why they say, like, LeBron has extremely high IQ.
Yeah.
I give him that because he's a student of the game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he don't have the greatest. Like, to me, he don't have a bag that everybody wants to say. He don't have a bag. LeBron's pretty straightforward. He doesn't really have a dribble package.
He
You know what I'm
just
saying?
does what he does really
but
well.
he's smart. Yes, he's smart. He
Yeah.
can see the defense. He knows where people are going to be. He has seen so much basketball and then studied so much basketball. I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it makes it easy for him to move offensively because I know what they're, especially in this type of day and age where it's a lot of freedom of movement. But
Yeah.
that's why I say I won't never take away that LeBron couldn't play back in the 90s or something like that. I don't think he couldn't play. Now, the flopping stuff won't fly.
It's not.
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
Yeah, that ain't working.
That
yeah.
ain't going to fly.
Yeah.
But his game, I think, will translate because he is a physical. He's built for the physical era. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
He's always, like, when he first came in, going downhill,
Yeah.
not being afraid to take shots and things like that, putting pressure on the defense and stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff was needed back in those times, even though you got touched up.
Yeah.
But if you got touched up, then guess what? You had to figure out some other way of playing. But I think
Yeah.
LeBron he's smart enough to understand that there's a different way that I have to play against
Yeah.
these people. So while it's being more physical, well, because he's so sharp mentally, LeBron's going to probably turn into, instead of you seeing the LeBron, and this is just my thought process, instead of you seeing 25, 28, 29 points per game, 27 points per game, LeBron James, I think in the 90s, you're going to probably see more of the 19, 20, and it's not because he can't score, it's because he will learn a different way to play the game to where he's not trying to get his, of course, he's not going to try to get his body just decimated going through the middle where these dudes is getting shots at him. He's going to learn how to be more Magic Johnson and facilitate that way. Learn how to facilitate with his back to the basket, things like that, and be able to, you know what I'm saying, he'll be really more towards Magic than what you see him now. And I think he'll be around that 19, 20, 20, maybe 21, 22. I could see that.
Yeah.
And posting up the same kind of rebounding and assist. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that. That's not even bad to say. That still wouldn't put him out of that category of being one of the best players in the league.
In the
So,
league, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the kind of game. I think that's the kind of game I think that LeBron would have to be able to adapt to those situations because he's so smart. He's smart
Yeah.
mentally, so he'll
Yeah.
know how to actually adapt to that. So, but that's what it takes to play to be a true talent in basketball, a true Hall of Fame career. If you want to have that, you gotta have the
Yeah.
smarts. You gotta
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah. IQ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's really interesting because there's like what I'm afraid that, you know, we're not gonna see the Ben Wallaces anymore, or, you know, even like,
Closest you got is Draymond.
yeah, you know, and I mean, when you really look at it, like we could look at Andre Drummond. Like, I think what happened to Andre Drummond, like what
That's a
happened,
tragedy.
right? I think what happened was the league changed. Like, the league changed, and he just couldn't follow what the league was going to, right? Like, and it wasn't overnight, but he got lost in the shuffle of it, right?
Yeah.
And he couldn't, like, Rudy Gobert is one of those players where he just barely like understood that, okay, I know I can make this work in this era, even though I'm not that shooter from the perimeter. I'm not a perimeter defender, but I understand how I'm needed defensively, and I'm gonna excel at that. And I feel like Andre Drummond just, you know, somewhere got lost in it, and it's one of those things where we expected more from him, but I understand.
Yeah. And of course, a couple of injuries play a part in that,
That too.
but that early year Detroit Andre Drummond was a monster.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah.
monster. He was on that trajectory, like but yeah, you kind of get to that point where it's like you start seeing the liabilities. Like you couldn't shoot free throws.
Yeah.
You know, the league is shifting to more of a perimeter game that really wasn't your game. So a lot of the big men that can't shoot on the perimeter, they kind of get phased out. You know, so yeah, he kind of got phased out because he's kind of an old school center. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lobs, rebounds, and putbacks is really was his game for the most
Right.
part.
Right.
And the league just is not. They're not at that point anymore. You know, which is sad because that's a valuable asset. And I kind of hate it for like players coming into the league now. If you are that type, you're kind of gonna get lost
Really?
in the shuffle. Like the boy Jaleel. What's his name? Oh,
Jaleel Okafor.
no,
Not. Yeah.
yeah, from Duke,
Yeah. Oh.
yeah,
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Duke
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
came out, and he was top top five pick or like third or we went three or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But the league didn't do him no justice.
Yeah.
When he went to Philly, they didn't do him no justice. They didn't
Justice.
play.
Yeah.
None of them played him with his back. They want to say that he wasn't all that. I mean, he was kind of I guess lazy in practice or something like that, and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. No, the problem I have with it is the fact that I think the league just moved away from that style of big man.
Yeah. Straight
So
up.
when you're moved away from somebody that has been known to just dominate in the post and the paint,
Yeah.
and you go away from that, when they get to another level, now they got to try to adjust their game to something that they're not used to doing.
Doing.
And when
Yeah.
you're asking them to do something they're not used to doing, it's going to take them longer to try to get it, and they might not even get it because I mean, that's not the big man game.
Yeah.
But you don't see players come in that big no more. You get people like more Czech Holmgren, who's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like like 6'10", 6'11", a buck 85. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. They're narrow.
they're like Kevin Durant. That's what they are now. It's like they
Yeah.
come in small frame because they want them to do a lot more of the perimeter game and quick, fast, and all this stuff. It's done changed. So you don't never see
Yeah.
the big man dominate no more. And that's the problem of the game today. You can call it a problem, but it's a problem to me because, you know, like me and you, we love the big man. We love the old school post game stuff.
Yeah.
But this day and age, they're better for freedom of movement, so they don't clog up a paint. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna get a big man, they're gonna probably be like your Draymonds. They're gonna be like 6'9", 6'10",
Yeah,
230,
that's
240, 250,
yeah,
and they're able to move a lot quicker or whatever, or they're gonna be about 7 foot with a big wingspan, but they weigh about 112 pounds, and
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So
yeah,
that's what the league has gone to,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
So your only two real big men in the league, like how we used to see, is Jokic and Embiid.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Embiid is injured half the time, literally half the
yeah.
time.
Half the time,
Um, but
like,
Jokic is pretty healthy, and he's the most dominant player in the league right now. You could
yeah,
say
right,
there's nobody stopping him. There's
yeah,
nobody in the post that can stop him. Even Gobert can't stop him. But like you look at somebody like Gobert, 7'2".
yeah,
He looked like he weighed about 123, 100, maybe 140, 150 pounds. He's probably
right,
more than that, but he's not a fast man. He's not fast. He's just kind of like your DeAndre Jordans. He's still playing, but he don't get no PT.
yeah.
But we
That's
seen
true.
what DeAndre Jordan was all about. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like your Drummonds. You know, Drummond he used to be an effective big. Those type of big men are just phased out.
yeah. And you know what? But I still feel like they're kind of needed because
I
so
think
like
they
let's
really need it.
like so because we could even look at who was the last person that actually stopped who could really stop Nikola Jokic?
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard, right?
He was the only one that really was able to put pressure on him. I
Yeah,
mean, we are talking years ago, so we are
we
talking
are.
not the
Granted, it was
same. The
5 years ago.
same. Yeah, it's not the same Jokic that is
This
in
is
the
true.
game now.
This is true.
But that does not mean that he could not possibly be just as effective as it was, because he was strong enough to be able to play defense against him. He's athletic enough to be able to cause problems, block shots, grab rebounds, just to be a pest down there with Jokic.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's really all you're really looking for. And he can guard him on the perimeter because he's quick enough for it.
yeah.
Anthony Davis never had the body for it, so he
No.
can't really guard Jokic like that. Only one that really could would be Embiid. But
Yeah,
Embiid is so busy being injured.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Unfortunately, the talents like DeMarcus Cousins, who until the league decided that hey he's worthless
yeah,
for whatever
yeah,
reason because he got a couple of injuries and y'all don't like his attitude, whatever, y'all flushed him out the league. Cousins was another one that could be guarding Jokic
yeah,
because of the way that he can move his feet. He's a big body that was strong.
yeah,
And he can cause problems the other way around. So it's just
yeah.
like those that can guard him, they're no longer around anymore.
Zach
Either,
Rudolph.
yeah, Zach Rudolph was another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of them things. I mean, obviously, I mean, yeah, people will
DeAndre
say,
Ayton probably would be able to do something. Ayton in
yeah,
Portland, he's another one that's pretty decent. He just ain't really committed defensively like he should be, but
like he
he's
should
decent.
be. He's decent, but I think here's my thing with DeAndre Ayton. Like even when he was with Phoenix, like the ceiling is here, but he only allows himself to get like right here. I think
Yes.
I think he has been his own worst
Yeah.
enemy, right?
Yeah.
I think he has, and right now I don't think we'll ever see that now. Like we've missed where he could have reached this, in my opinion. We've missed where he could have reached that. Now we don't know what Chauncey Billups like. Ain't this Chauncey Billups' first year with Portland,
No,
right?
I think it's
Or his
second.
second. Okay, so
His
his
second
second,
year.
right? And Portland wasn't terrible this year. They
No, they
just
weren't.
need more. They just need more pieces. I think Chauncey Billups is doing a great job.
Yeah, the
Given
boys
what,
he got the
yeah,
young talent out there. That boy Sharp is nice.
yeah,
Boy Sharp is
but
nice.
it's
And
Portland, right?
Anthony Simmons, he's pretty
Yeah,
good too.
he's
I
nice
like him.
too. And it's Portland. They get lost in the shuffle because we don't get to see them, right? Like they don't get any
Yeah, you
televised
really don't
games,
see him on
and
TV.
they're as far west as you could be, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, we oftentimes don't get to watch, and unless you're
yeah,
like,
because they don't have a superstar neither. So that's the other problem.
that's the other
When
problem
they
too.
had
So
Dame Lillard, you would watch them more. When they had Dame
you
Lillard
seen
than
them
what they
more,
do now.
exactly. So, but I mean, like obviously we know things are going to change with the league, and times are going to change, and play is going to change, and players are going to change, and it just is part of it. But it is okay for us to express that we miss those times.
Yeah. Zubac is a nice one. Zubac's nice.
Zubac,
I like Zubac.
I forget about Zubac.
Yeah, Zubac is nice.
Yeah, Zubac is nice.
He goes under the radar because he's not no flashy guy. He just comes in and puts in work. You're going to get about 14 and 12, 14 and 15, 14. The other night he had like 20 rebounds, 14 and 21 or something like that, or it was 20 and 21, something like that. Yeah, Zubac is nice down there. That's he's an X factor to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can get somebody that just gives you those second chance opportunities and easy buckets like that.
Yeah.
You don't understand how much that do to our team, bro. This is crazy.
It is. It's
I mean, you got your Jared Allens of the world too. He's not a big body, but he's nice defensively.
Jared Allen is very nice over there in Cleveland, and I think he's an integral part of why Cleveland is as good as they've been this year. Him being healthy, because you got to remember last year he wasn't healthy in the playoffs.
That's true.
And I think him being healthy is an integral part of why they are a threat.
I like old Afro, man. I like the way he was at Texas. I liked him at Texas. I wish he would have went to the Bulls. I wanted him on the Bulls bad, but yeah, man. Whatever, man. Let's keep on going, man.
Where would his career have gone?
He'd have been great, man. He'd have been great. It took him a while to even start winning in Cleveland. Let's just be real.
Okay. Yeah.
He was in Brooklyn. They weren't showing nothing really in Brooklyn either. Then it took them a couple of years in Cleveland. So let's just be real. He wasn't really on no dominating teams. You know what I'm saying? So while we was a binge playoff team for all these years, we could have used him. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We could have used him out there.
That's true.
I'd rather have him over Vucic.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
At least I'd have had defense.
Yeah, you would have had some defense. I was thinking about this, and I was like, dang, everywhere Jason Kidd goes to coach, they be like consistently good. Like Jason Kidd ain't never been one of them coaches where you're like, dang, this ain't for him. Like Jason Kidd's always been a solid coach, right?
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. Yeah, so he struggled a little bit in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but it was.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't
bad.
It was terrible, but it was where he kind of.
Do you think he really struggled in Milwaukee? Because I thought he did a pretty good job with what he had.
It was solid. It was okay. He was solid for what he had. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say he was great. He was all right.
And with the Nets,
he coached the Nets.
Did he coach the Nets? Let's see.
I don't even remember him coaching the Nets. He probably did. I know he's been at Dallas for a while, but I don't remember the Nets. That means the Nets wasn't that good if I don't remember Jason Kidd being the coach of the Nets.
Okay, so yes, Jason Kidd coached the Nets 2013-14. Then the Bucks from 2014 or the 2013-14 season he coached the Nets. The Bucks the 2014-15 to 2017-18, and then he's been with the Mavs since 2021.
So with the Nets, he went 44-38. That was when he first started coaching. The next year he was at Milwaukee. He was 41-41. The year after that, he was 33-49. The year after that, he was 42-40. Then the year after that, he was 23-22.
And then he got
I guess that's when they let go. And then with Dallas, he's been 52-30, 38-44, 50-32. Then this year, 38-42 right now.
Okay.
So he's been pretty solid.
Yeah. Right. He's okay. So he's
not terrible.
Right.
He ain't great, but he ain't terrible.
He struggled with Milwaukee. Okay.
51% winning percentage. So. It's average.
That's average. Yeah, he's average. But, I was just thinking, like, the reason I thought about it is because I don't know if you remember the press conference with Nico, and Nico was like, I didn't have to talk to Jason Kidd because we think alike, and I could see Jason Kidd's face, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, if I'm a head coach, right, and the GM does that, like me personally, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here,
You know that.
right?
You know that, bro, because you could tell Jason Kidd he knew nothing about it. He wasn't on board. You could tell he
Yeah,
wasn't on board. Watching
yeah,
that press conference showed he wasn't on board. He was just kind of
bored.
just sitting there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't say a word. And so, I was thinking to myself, and granted, we look back at Milwaukee. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I wanted his tenure there to look better than it was. But
I think if he was better, he would still probably be there.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know because they done fired some coaches that was winning too since then.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean? So,
there it is.
but like I started thinking about like coaches in the league that have been like the NBA specifically. I don't know if the NFL does it to a certain extent, but NBA seems to do it more. It's like this whole thing with head coaches, and if they don't win you a championship overnight, they gotta go, right?
Yeah.
And to me personally, I've felt like Jason Kidd has been able to develop teams, like
Yeah.
based on what I remember, like in a sense, when you look at that Milwaukee Bucks team, even after he got fired, like he kind of built up the teams that got better, right? Because think about the roster, think about who was on the team, and
Yeah.
and, and, and and I think that's what you want. And sometimes you just got to be patient.
That's one thing that these owners don't have is patience. Either A, they're lacking patience, or B, it maybe the coaches are just not like they got too much opinion.
Yeah, it's an ego thing for the GM.
Yeah, because when I look back at even Chicago, we had Tibbs. Why did Tibbs get fired? Because they couldn't
Because
control him.
he couldn't control him.
He
was gonna
didn't
do
want
what
to
he
do
wanted.
what they were exactly. They couldn't control him, and it showed. Because why would you fire somebody like Tibbs who's been able to coach teams that? Let's just be honest. When Derrick Rose went out, we had teams that we probably would look at and be like, they shouldn't even be in the playoffs like this.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like when we got almost like scraps. Like when we picked up Nate Robinson in that squad that we had
Oh,
that went
yeah.
into the playoffs.
yeah,
It was just like, what?
yeah.
Like
How did we
really?
do that? Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like really? Or if you look at even some of the teams we had that were going deep. Look at the teams we had with D Rose on it.
yeah.
You had D Rose. He was probably the only offensive player we really had.
Hey,
And we
yeah.
was round a bunch of defensive players, yes.
Yeah.
But we couldn't score. What was we doing in the Eastern Conference Finals? You would think we wouldn't even be in the Eastern Conference Finals with the squads
Finals.
we had. But
Yeah.
so it's just like that's coaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's coaching.
Yeah,
So, you just go back and it just doesn't make sense. So it has to be that these GMs don't want somebody that they want yes men. Either you
Yeah.
want yes men or you just got a short fuse as to when you want to win. But
yeah.
the problem is with these owners and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, you want this quick team to win, but you ain't paying money for one, or you making bonehead deals. Like you having
Like
these
Phoenix.
GMs make bonehead, bro.
Phoenix is a prime example of bonehead. You give Bradley Beal all that money with a no trade clause.
I was just thinking about that the other night, bro.
With
I
the
was just
no
like,
trade clause, you like-
you decimated your whole team to get Kevin Durant, which I understand trying to get some like a superstar.
right.
But then you backdoor that up with that bad Bradley Beal deal.
Yes, that was a terrible deal.
bro. You could have.
Booker and Kevin Durant were good enough. You don't sign Bill, but you sign pieces around Booker and Kevin Durant.
Durant.
That's all you
Yeah.
had to do.
Defensive pieces, like some key defensive
Defensive
players, two-way players, or
Because
whatever.
we know, okay, if you're a GM, if I'm a GM, I'm like, all right, we got Booker. He gonna get you some points. We ain't defense, but he gonna get you some points. We got Kevin Durant. All right, defense, but he gonna score. All right,
Yep.
now let's get some pieces defensively to put around them too
Thank
to
you.
balance it out. But then you go get a Bradley Bill, no defense, and half the time not much offense as of late. So
Stays injured.
and he stays injured with the back.
Well, he's been a
injury.
little bit. He's been a little bit
This
more
year-
healthier this year, but
But
he's not the
still,
same. He's got
right. He's not the one that you had with the Wizards. It's not the
Yeah.
same Bradley Bill.
The biggest problem out of that whole entire thing was you gave this man. He had a no trade clause.
Close. No trade.
This
clause.
is why you could not move him for a Jimmy Butler.
That's exactly it. That's it. If they were been able to get a Jimmy Butler and been able to get rid of Bradley Bill and get a Jimmy Butler, I guarantee you they'd be in the playoffs right now.
I 100% agree.
But now what? They just got eliminated yesterday or the day before.
Did you watch that game?
guarantee- Yeah. Man.
At least the one day, the day before they played, who they played? They played Golden State.
Golden
I think
State.
it was Golden State.
It was Golden State.
Oh, that was just
Yeah.
terrible. Like
Yeah.
if they don't have Kevin Durant on that court, and even with
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, they don't look good.
No.
But if they don't have him on that court, they are terrible. Like terrible, bro. I was just like this. That's what made me prompt me to think that's the worst deals they could have ever made was that.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was already a bad trade because you traded away so many things that you once had that was great for
Exactly.
your team.
Exactly.
But that Bradley Bill pickup was even worse because that contract, you can't trade him, you can't move him. His contract is extremely hard to match.
Yeah. It was a bad deal all the way around.
Yeah.
Like that's where we got to look at GMs and be like, yo, what's going on, man?
That's a GM you fire.
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
GM you fire.
Absolutely.
Like if I was the owner, I'd be like, bro, what kind of deal did we just make today?
Yeah.
Did really?
With
Like,
a no trade?
bro,
with a no
like
trade for
where
Bradley
is
Bill?
your
What?
where is your team building at?
Right. Because these are things that us as regular people understand. I immediately saw when they did that, I was like, and you know what's crazy? Last year when the season started, I was so optimistic because I was like, they don't got no defense, but they gonna outscore everybody. And I wanted to be optimistic because I'm a Kevin Durant fan.
Yeah, same here.
But about halfway through the season, I was like, not even halfway, a quarter in, I was like, yeah, I don't know if this gonna work.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. I would have kept Chris Paul.
Yes. And DeAndre Ayton. But I get it.
Yep.
There was some turmoil between the Phoenix organization and DeAndre Ayton and whatever they
Yeah,
could
he
get
had to
figured
go
out.
for whatever reason. Yeah, he had to.
And I look, if I'm Phoenix, I make that work. Like we figure something out. I keep
Try to.
Chris Paul. I keep what I just saw worked. I just saw.
Oh, they
it
should have
work.
ran it back. They should have
Ran
kept
it back.
Monty
I
Williams
just-
and stuff.
Right. I just saw it work. Right. And so I blow it up when I just watched it work. I'm not gonna try again. Like I seen it work.
Heads with a roll if you're dealing with me.
Yeah.
Oh, this was what we doing? Okay, well you lose your job and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's that they're in a bad spot. They have no draft picks.
None.
You know, you don't have any way to really fix it. You know, there's no way
Yeah.
to really fix it. You know, you're just hoping is that you could pick up some people that want to come in and take a pay cut, I guess, in the off season.
You know what sucks for Phoenix right now? Like, they fail so fast. It's gonna take them, in my opinion, it's gonna take them years to be even like, because Kevin Durant's not staying. You think he wants to stay? He ain't staying. Devin Booker probably will stay, but look, as much as I like Devin Booker, I don't think Devin Booker even cares. I think he's just out there balling. Give me my money, win or lose. I'm just out here playing. I like it here in Phoenix. Nice weather. I got my cars, and that's all I care about. Like, I think,
it just seems like it just be just one of those numbers where I'm just here not to get fined.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. and so, you know, when you look at that, I mean, nobody's obviously, when Bradley Beal's contract is done, I think it's going to be hard for him. It may or may not be. It's going to.
They're going to have to make a decision, to be honest with you, right now. If they want to try to do something like right now to get things back on track, they got to make a decision. This is the decision they're going to have to make. You're going to have to either trade Kevin Durant or you're going to have to trade Booker. Yeah. It's time to rebuild your squad.
Right now, they just have to focus on rebuilding.
Yeah, you got to try to get access.
From scratch. Yeah, you're going to have to start from scratch now. Mm-hmm. You know,
and that's going to have to come with you trading away one or two of your biggest assets, which is Durant and Booker. Mm-hmm. Booker's going to be probably, I'm honest to say, he's probably going to be worth more for his assets than Durant.
Well, right now, only he's so much younger than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's younger. So it's like we're going to either keep Booker around or we're going to move Durant. I think moving Durant is probably what's going to end up happening if they really want to do something, because Bill ain't going nowhere unless he restructures his contract. But he wants that money, so he ain't caring about winning. I don't think he really gives a damn. But that's just my opinion.
I agree.
But at the same time, that's the only thing I can see to get them out of this is just trade Durant. Get you some assets from his deal before you, like if he's on a last year, which I don't know if he is, but if he's on his last year, trade him off.
Yeah.
Try to trade him off as an expiring contract or whatever it is you're going to do to trade him off to get some kind of assets for him. Do it early.
Yeah.
Not at trade deadline, because at trade deadline, people could look at it and be like, why are we going to try and pick up Kevin Durant now?
No, exactly.
We can let him. We can just go ahead and keep what we got, and we'll try to get him in the off season.
That's right.
So trade him early, so you can have your rebuild started. So he can go wherever he's gonna go.
Right.
And you know he has time to work out a deal with whoever else he's dealing with or whatever. But trade him early. Just go ahead and get you some assets. Mm-hmm. Get you a couple of picks for next year or whatever, because he's gonna go. You're gonna get some draft picks out of a Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So get you a few years of draft picks. You have to definitely get one for the year that you trade him in, and then get you some down the road. Get you a decent, solid rotational pieces of players. And that way, preferably younger. That way you can kind of build your roster back up. And start working around, then you can kind of really rebuild around Booker. You have to make sure that Booker understands, hey, look, we're just trying to rebuild. If he doesn't want to stay, guess what? Move him on along.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to rebuild.
Get you some more get you some pieces off of his deal, and just start your rebuild process. And just go young and stay young until you can get a whole team again. That's where they're at.
The thing is, what's crazy is I don't know why more teams aren't watching the success of teams that build through the draft. Like when you look at look at OKC. They've continuously been one of those teams that will build through the draft. I mean, even when you go back to Kevin Durant, James Harden, you know, and Westbrook. That was all through the draft.
It's a tried and true formula.
Yes.
Let's just be honest with you. People don't really. They don't.
through the
San
draft.
Antonio.
The
Even though
Boston,
you could even look at it from Boston's another one. You could even look at it from a standpoint of somebody like the 76ers. Yeah, they might not have gone deep, but the whole trust the process thing that they were talking about,
it works.
I mean, you can't say it didn't work, even though
Yeah,
Embiid has been injured so many times. But how many times they didn't got to the playoffs? They done made a
exactly.
little bit of damage. They done had turmoil in their ranks with like Ben Simmons and all the other
Right.
stuff that they done had going on.
But
But they
trust
didn't
in the
get there.
process. Trust
Trust in
in
the
the
process.
process made them go from the worst to being
Considered one of the best teams in the East.
right.
For many years, that we always say if there's a healthy Embiid,
Yes,
you
they're
talking like
dangerous.
they're a top 3, top 4 team in the East.
Exactly.
And then you got Tyrese Maxey, another one they grabbed through the draft. Look
Draft.
what he's
Yeah.
becoming. He's
Yeah.
becoming a star in his own right. It's just
Yeah.
like building through the draft has always been something that has worked. For
Yes.
a lot of teams, it's worked. Now everybody can't win the championship. It's just
Yeah, it's just
unfortunate.
not.
That's
Yeah.
just not how it
Right.
works. But teams that typically, historically, that have built through the draft have done some damage later on.
Yeah.
It's been showing. Look at Minnesota. They had a couple of little trades here and there, but when they had Cat, he's then came through the ranks through the draft.
Draft.
You then picked up an Anthony
Anthony
Edwards.
Edwards.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah, you had a little sprinkle of other individuals every now and then, but most of their key pieces, your Alexander Walkers and your Reed.
Yeah.
These people are you're picking up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you throw a little Conley that you didn't get in the off season or whatever. You putting a
Yeah.
little bit of
Just
pieces
yeah.
along with them, like
Mm-hmm.
working parts. But for most part, that whole team was pretty much through that draft,
Draft. Yeah.
through the draft for majority of them. Like you just gotta work with them. It's patience. That's all it
Right.
is. You gotta have
Yeah.
patience because all these. I'm telling you right now, the age I really believe this. The age of the big three is done.
Oh yeah.
You're not
Absolutely.
winning with that. There's too many times that
You
you're
need a
decimating.
team, a
You're
full team.
you're decimating complete talent to try to get a big three.
Yeah.
And that's not ever it's not working no more. Like
Yeah.
the Miami Heat worked because of the fact that they went there in the off season.
Yeah.
So they're not losing assets to grab them. They're actually
Right. They were
gaining
free. Yeah.
they're free agents. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got this. You already have whoever you're on your roster. You done made cap space, or you got cap space to do this. These guys worked out a deal to work together, and then it
Yeah.
became. Then you just add little pieces here and there and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Boston, when they had their big three, that was an off-season type ordeal. That wasn't
Yeah.
something we tried to do in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett waited to see okay who we got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What y'all working with? Okay, I'm getting traded over here. Ray Allen's coming. Oh, snap, bet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, we go like how he talks about with Rondo. Hey, you need to keep this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rajon Rondo.
So
Yeah.
you keep him. Don't trade him off. But these are the people they already built the team with. Paul Pierce is
Yeah.
already there, so he's getting this little team that they got. Bring in some assets there in the offseason. Boom.
Yeah.
Guess what you got?
Kendrick Perkins. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're like,
but
oh,
most
yeah,
of them are
let's sign- yeah, let's sign
drafted
him.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it can work sometimes, but most of the time, building through that draft works. Look at Portland. Portland did it for years.
yeah.
Most
yeah.
of their stars that you've seen came from a draft
A
trade
draft.
or something.
Yes.
LaMarcus Aldridge, Brandon Roy,
Yeah.
C.J. McCollum,
Man,
Damian Lillard.
The problem
They-
with Portland is they just get caught with the injury
Bro,
bug.
something's in that
man.
water, though. I don't even
They
want to go to
get-
Portland.
they
I don't
be
even want to.
Bro,
Hey, I don't even want to
as
visit
many-
Portland. I'm scared I might come back with a goddamn injury or something just to
With
visit them.
as many great players as they have drafted that
It's
has
sad.
got, and then the injury bug has ended the career,
Mm-hmm.
bro.
Bro, like, just think about the team that they would have had with Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yes.
They had, if Greg Oden was healthy,
Oh man,
bro,
that
I'm not going to sit there and say, but let's just say they hypothetically got Damian Lillard.
yeah, yeah. That's a team that we're consider. In my humble opinion, that's a Western Conference Finals team.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
That's a Western
Literally.
Conference Finals team.
Yeah. But teams just need to go back to that old school formula. Build through the draft. Look at the
Build through the
Lakers for the
draft.
last few years. When they got LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
And then they traded for Anthony Davis. You traded all those assets and pieces that you could have had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The nucleus that you already had that was there prior to Anthony Davis trade. So you're talking about Brandon
Yes.
Ingram and all them other boys that were involved in that trade.
Yeah.
But when you look at how long it literally took, if we gonna count the bubble year, which it's a championship, they
it's
got
a
it.
championship.
You know
It's
what
a
I'm saying? They got
championship.
it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they do that if it wasn't for that time off so LeBron and them can get healthy and everybody's
True.
in a weird state of mindset. I don't
Right.
think that championship actually helps. And plus they went against Miami who was banged up as heck as well. They only had
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, really. Um but they've been struggling for years to try to get a team to even get back deep into the playoffs. They fired, of course, Ham, who got them to the Western Conference Finals,
Yeah.
which is weird to fire him off.
Darby
But
Ham, yeah.
anyway, but it's like they've been just rotating parts and pieces of free agents and trying to put something together because we wanted to try to have as you know, the big three didn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
apparently it didn't work. They looked
Yeah.
terrible with a big
Well,
three.
well, I like what the Lakers have been able to do recently, and I think
Yeah.
you know, I know I was critical of JJ Redick because we hadn't seen him coach, and he went right into head coach. Now, but what they did was they put good. They put a solid panel of coaches around him.
Exactly.
And I think that helped a lot. They got Connect, they got Reeves. How Reeves was undrafted is crazy.
But the thing about it is you don't know what they're going to be
Yeah.
until they are in the league.
Yeah. You don't
So
know.
you
till you're
never
not.
really know what you're going to get. It's kind of like, well, we just went on a whim and
Yeah.
this is what we got. And then, oh, wow, we hit on something. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And then, of course, sometimes it's systematic. You don't know what
Yeah.
kind of player he could have been on another team. Look at Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He was with the Lakers. He didn't look so good. He goes to the Clippers, and the role he had there, he looked a lot better. He
Yeah.
goes to the Nuggets. I love him in Denver. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's just
working.
it's like sometimes it's just the system and atmosphere that you put into.
Yeah.
Some people just blossom, some people shrink.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I
And
like what the Lakers have done.
Yeah.
They kept some core pieces and didn't trade off too much.
Right.
And then of course you make a big trade and you get somebody like Luka. So I mean,
Right.
and you really don't give nothing off besides Davis and Christie, technically.
Right. And so, even let's say LeBron retires after this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna open up some space. I think that even with what the Lakers have, you pick up. Let's say they pick up. I don't know. They pick up a piece. I can't even think off the top of my head what they would pick up. But like, let's say LeBron retired, you're gonna draft. You're gonna have your draft, and you're gonna pick up a piece. But I think you're still set for the next 5 years because you have Reeves, Luka. I think Connect is gonna grow and get better. I think he's a solid player. And I just think you have good pieces to build upon. And you have a 25-year-old Luka, so you're going to have a young, good team that can grow.
I agree.
It's still the Lakers this year did a great job of figuring out things. I do think they need to get a big man for next year. They're a little small, and I think that's gonna show in the playoffs. I have some concerns about how small they are, but JJ Redick overall has done a great job this season. And again, I was critical because we didn't know, but he's done a great job. I think overall, you got to give him a pretty good grade with what he's been able to do.
Yeah, and he was given a great cash crop. He cropped in on a nice little Luca package, so
Yeah,
helps them
yeah,
even more. So you know what I'm saying. Not
yeah,
they were already playing pretty decent ball before they got Luca
yeah,
defensively, but that changed the game a lot with Luca. So you know he
yeah.
benefited from something like that. They wouldn't have dared did that when Darvin Ham was there. They ain't make no deals like that. So
No, they definitely wasn't trying to help with that. I mean, and it's helped that the wing players have been able to, you got your Rui Hachimura, he's
hmm
been consistent.
yeah.
Even last year and this year, he's been consistent. So,
And then you
yeah,
got like people like Vanderbilt who's back, who's healthy.
who's
He's looked
healthy?
pretty
He's
good.
been looking good.
Gabe Vincent then came back. That gives you another shooter. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
he's not
So,
been looking too bad. So
right.
their pieces are starting to come back around too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they're set up for success for the next few years.
Oh yeah.
I think they're pretty looking pretty all right. And
Yeah.
again, teams just have to go back and look for the draft. Stop looking for these big threes, giving up all your money to three offensive players that aren't playing, that can't play any defense, that don't even. I mean, I'll be honest with you. To me, when I watch Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the court at the same time, like I've seen that a couple times, and
Doesn't
it
look right.
it doesn't look right. It's not smooth. It doesn't mesh.
hmm
It doesn't look good at all, man.
No,
In my
it
opinion.
looks like a mess. It looks
Yeah,
like a mess out there.
yeah. You just threw some goulash together.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
real. He slop. He put that slop together right there.
yeah, for
Yeah.
real. Do you have Do you have a y'all must have forgot?
No, not off the top of my head this week.
Not off the top of the head. I got
Nah.
one. I got. I
Okay.
want. I want people to. I don't have no numbers in front of me, but I'm just gonna tell you this. Go look at some David Robinson highlights.
Oh yeah.
Admiral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just go look at some
Apparently,
highlights.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's lost in the shuffle of centers. That
Yes.
Pantheon of
Uh,
centers.
yeah. Just please go look at
That
some.
man was a that man was a machine. He
Yeah.
was a
Go.
machine, bro. He was literally a machine. Like he
Yeah.
didn't look like he ever got tired on the court.
Ever.
He
Ever.
was a machine, bro. What was
Ever.
it? Didn't he score 70 something to win the scoring title one year?
Yeah.
I think he had to score like he scored like 70 points to win the scoring title.
Yeah. Yeah. Like go look at the
Yeah,
Admiral. Go look at
the
David
Admiral was a
Robinson.
ball. He was a beast, bro.
Yeah, with San Antonio Spurs, man. If you are of the age of not remembering David Robinson, or even if you just forgot, go look at highlights. Rejuvenates. Go
Get
look
that
at some. Yeah, go.
refreshment there.
It's
Yeah,
a yeah. It's refreshing to go back and look at some of that stuff.
I
So
agree.
that's
I agree. Definitely check him out.
yeah.
Definitely.
That's
Um, real quick though, did you want to
yeah.
talk about playoff seedings or anything like that, real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, what you think about it? Like, I mean, what matchup would you see right now? Let me put up the playoff
Yeah,
seedings
because we're
anyway.
still look. What the last game is Sunday.
Last game is Sunday.
Sunday, so playoff seedings. Playoff seedings right now.
So
What we got? Let's see what we looking at. So right
standings
now,
update. Mm-hmm.
all right. So like, let's say if things are like, so the Bulls would play Miami, wouldn't they, in the
Yeah,
play-in,
right now they play Miami in the play-in. Yes, sir.
and the Magic play Atlanta.
Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the Kings play Dallas, and Memphis plays Minnesota right now.
Right now as it stands.
Right. So let's talk about the plans first. I got it as it stands. I have Dallas beating Sacramento Kings.
Mm-hmm.
and I have Minnesota Timberwolves beating Memphis Grizzlies. If it
I can
stays
see
like
that.
that, I
I can see
have
that.
I have Chicago beating Miami. The reason is because
Me too.
Miami's just they're banged up. Um, so, and then I have Orlando Magic beating Atlanta.
I can see that.
Just simply because Orlando's just defensively, like we haven't talked about Orlando, but Orlando's a top 5 defensive team right now.
Yeah, they're strong. They're a strong team. I'm
Yeah,
surprised they're actually a 7 seed. To be honest, which I thought they'd be a little bit better this year,
me too.
than a 40-40 record. But hey, they had some injuries too,
Yeah.
so that takes away from it. So being that you said that, so like I would say, I got the Bulls beating the Heat. That's a homer pick, kind of, but not really, because
Yeah.
I really think that they do play better ball than Miami right now.
Right.
Um, I could see Orlando beating the Hawks. I actually like that. And then on the other side, if Anthony Davis is healthy and he plays like Anthony Davis can, I would go Mavs over Kings.
Yeah.
But at the rate that they're actually playing, to be honest, I'm probably gonna go with Kings over the Mavs. Like I said, it's too many ifs for the Mavericks to me right
Got you.
now. So I'm gonna choose the Kings over the Mavs. I don't know if the Kings are banged up. I haven't really paid too much attention to the Kings like that, but with DeRozan, Levine, and Sabonis out there, I think they gonna give a lot of problems there. So I'm gonna go with the Kings over the Mavs.
Okay.
Um, then I will probably go. Yeah, I'm gonna take Wolves over the Grizzlies right now. I think the Grizzlies just with them making a new coaching change is gonna make they still trying to find their footing a little bit after that. But so I'll go with that for that first round play in. So that means that what Timberwolves get in at the 7th seed,
7th seed. Yep. And they play
and
Houston
then and
as
then
of right now.
I would have Kings versus Grizzlies for the last play in spot, and I think the Grizzlies get in.
Okay.
Okay, and then on the other side, the Bulls. For me, the Bulls will play Magic. No, the Bull. Wait, hold on. No, the
Yeah,
Bulls will play the Hawks
the Hawks.
to
Yeah.
get in. Ah,
I
I'm
got the
gonna go with my
Bulls.
Bulls again.
Yep.
So I think the Bulls round out the 8 seed in the playoffs. So that's what I
Okay.
got.
Okay. We're about the same besides me having the Mavs beaten or
The Kings.
the Kings, yeah. Besides that one, we're about the same. What matchup is as of right now, what we're looking at, what matchup is your favorite?
If we're looking at it and it stays like this right now, I would have to say that Lakers and Warriors is gonna be exciting.
Okay.
I think that'll be an exciting series just to see Steph and LeBron.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Knicks Pistons.
Knicks Pistons. That's
Knicks
the one I was
Pistons is gonna be a good one. That's
yeah.
gonna be a good one there. That'll be a good one. And then I would say so my top one probably Lakers and Warriors. That would probably be a good series. I mean, I'm gonna go with the Warriors because I like Jimmy buckets. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I
So
know. I know.
I gotta go with you
You gotta
buckets.
go with the Jimmy Buckets. I gotta go with my
Yeah,
Lakers. Gotta go with my
yeah.
Lakers.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
gotta go with my
So
Lakers.
Knicks Pistons. So it seems like the 3-6 is going to be the ones on both sides for me. I do like the Nuggets Clippers.
Clippers.
That one
I'm
is
gonna
going to
tell
be
you what.
extremely interesting.
I think the Clippers are gonna win that series.
I wouldn't
If it
doubt it.
stays this way, I
If they
think the
if
Clippers beat the Nuggets in a series.
I would agree with that. I can agree with that because if they stay with the healthy Kawhi.
Yeah.
If Kawhi ain't healthy, ain't no chance. I don't put my
And I
faith in James Harden, the
and I
system.
think the Bucks and the Pacers could be a good Series 2.
Without Damian Lillard, I'm not looking into it.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's gonna be a good series. It'll be a good series. I think I just lost more of my interest in it because
Damian
I'm
Lillard
not
has the
really,
clock.
I'm not high on the Pacers at all.
Me
They're
neither.
good. They're good. They're solid. But they just ain't moving the needle for me.
Yeah.
And the Bucks, I don't know what Bucks I'm gonna get. They like
Yeah,
go through
true.
so many. They done went through so many changes this
Changes.
whole year,
Yeah.
and then now you ain't got Dame Lillard, which really is the only reason.
That's
I mean, I like
yeah.
watching Giannis sometimes, but Dame Lillard is more the reason why I watch the Bucks because I like Dame Lillard. To
Got
see
you.
him out,
Yeah.
that's gonna be hurting. That's gonna
Yeah.
hurt me to watch it, but it's gonna be a good. I think it still be a good competitive series. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a good
Yeah.
one. I got the Bucks inching that one. I
Okay.
think the Bucks inch by on the Pacers on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be back with more talk about the playoffs because we're gonna. Are you available to go ahead and record next Friday again?
I'm off on Friday, so
I'm off on Friday too. It's a holiday.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, let's do that. Let's do next Friday, and by next Friday, we will have more information on playoffs and shape ups, and there will be the playing games start on the 15th. So
So we'll have them already done.
we'll have those already done. I think the last playing game is on that Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. If it starts on the 15th, more than likely it's that Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will have more. I'm excited. Also, if you are a golf fan, the Masters, please enjoy the Masters. It's one of the great pastimes in sports, in my opinion. I love watching the Masters. So I've been keeping up with that, and so this weekend, watch that. I think tomorrow's the third round. Sunday is the final round. So enjoy that. Also, if you listen all the way through, I hope you enjoyed the show. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff,
And also prepare for that NHL playoffs for those that like to watch hockey. That's
yes,
coming
the
up too.
NHL playoffs. Yes,
It's gonna be a
and
good summer.
in 2 weeks, NFL draft.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
2 weeks NFL draft. So
Yep.
a lot of big sports things happening right now. So
Yes, sir.
stay up on top of your sports, and we'll try to keep you updated on our opinions. And I hope y'all keep joining the show.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
All right,
Peace.
peace.